So sometime before it was time for them to sit, I just got that wisdom in my spirit to write another letter, right? And really just present my argument. So I heard it and I was like, see, I'm not going to be invited to speak to this committee, right? But I want to present my arguments in this letter. So this is my argument, right?
Wisdom.
You know, even the way I wrote that letter, and you know that this person is coming for trouble. Like, when I sent it to his email, I just wrote, Mr. President, find attached. And the heading of the letter was discriminatory complaint against the Law Society. You know, imagine saying that to the whole Law Society, right? Even recently, the recent survey I just read, most people who finish their masters here ended up doing care jobs.
So many. My care home, most of them, maybe I can count maybe 5 carers. 1 from India and maybe 3 from Nigeria. 4 people who came to do their masters here and are finished and they are doing care jobs.
Yeah.
So I've learned 2 things today.
Yeah.
The first one is the difference between barrister and solicitor, especially in UK terms.
Yeah.
And the second one is that when it's winter, you don't have to wear jeans. Like the way I'm freezing today.
But like I said to you, you don't even have to have a law degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to become a solicitor here in the UK.
Stop that.
Unfortunately, that's just it. Most of the lawyers here, it's so hard for them to get in. Like, I literally fought my way into the Law Society.
Wow.
I took up a case against the Law Society personally for my own self. Yeah, until I got my name inside there. I did write my exams also, but then there were some kind of policies they had in place that I wrote to them and I said, this is discriminatory, you know, and we challenged it. They said they were going to sit on the panel and yeah, it happened.
So I interviewed this beautiful lady here. Happyness. If I broke up my business.
Happiness. If I broke now my business.
So I interviewed this beautiful lady here last week around the same time, right?
Yeah.
I think last week Wednesday as well. And in the interview, like I wasn't expecting it, unexpected. She mentioned that she challenged the Law Society of Northern Ireland. She challenged them that some of their policies were discriminatory to the extent that got her on the, I don't know if I should say register of the Law Society in Northern Ireland. And I thought that was really bold. I mean, that was really bold. And I was just curious about the process because for those of you who don't know, Happyness, she schooled in Nigeria. She did her main law program in Nigeria. So she is foreign trained and a solicitor in Nigeria. So I know that, or I've heard that it's quite tasking to go through the process to become a solicitor in the UK if you were foreign trained. So when she mentioned in that video that she has successfully been registered here and is currently practicing.
I've been here in Northern Ireland for 3 years.
Okay.
I came here to do my masters in Queens. I'm a solicitor of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Nigeria. Yeah,
you are what?
I'm a solicitor.
You're a solicitor?
Yeah.
And you're practicing in the...
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't even know! I was quite impressed. So I decided that I'll come again and to interview her so she shares the process and she shares, you know, that whole story about her journey of, you know, challenging the Law Society and all of that. So welcome back to my channel.
Thank you.
My people loved you in our first video, guys. If you haven't seen our first video with this amazing woman here, go see it. So you have introduced yourself. I know you're Happyness, you're Nigerian, you came to the UK to do your masters, was it? And then fast forward, it's been 3 years now.
Yeah.
So tell us just about the process of, you know, becoming a solicitor in the UK in general if you are foreign trained.
Oh, okay.
What's the process like?
First of all, I think any foreign lawyer who wants to qualify here in the UK, I'll advise you to go through England and Wales because they recognize so much of our African legal jurisprudence, like especially if you're from a common law, you know, you did common law, you know, like Nigeria, you know, so they recognize it. So I'll advise you to go through England and Wales because it's not like one law society like what you have in like Nigeria. No, it's separate for England and Wales, it's separate for Northern Ireland, it's separate for Scotland. So you have to like qualify in each one where you want to practice. So but I'll advise you to start with England and Wales if you're a foreign because they have a lot of exemptions and some things that will make it easier for you compared to like other places, right? So if you want to qualify in England and Wales, first of all, you're going to write an exam. It's called the SQE. I did solicitor. It's separated. You know, like in Nigeria, you're both a barrister and solicitor, but here it's separated. So you're either becoming a barrister or you're becoming a solicitor. So I chose the solicitor part.
What's the difference between a barrister and a solicitor?
Oh, most times here in the UK, barristers are the ones who go to like more higher courts, right? Solicitors go to court, but not as high as barristers. And usually solicitors like to deal with non-contentious matters. Like we like to deal with things we can settle in the office, you know, all those paperwork, contracts, buying of properties. Why barristers are the ones who go to court to like maybe challenge cases. And, you know, when something is very contentious, usually you get a barrister to do that for you.
Okay. So I've learned 2 things today.
Yeah.
The first one is the difference between barrister and solicitor, especially in UK terms.
Yeah.
And the second one is that when it's winter, you don't have to wear jeans. Like the way I'm freezing today. All right. So that's the difference. So you are a solicitor. So you are mainly in the office, doing all the paperwork and all of that.
Yeah.
Talk us through the process. Let's say I have come here. I've taken your advice. I decided to register with England and Wales because they use a common law. So if you're from a place like Nigeria, it'll be easy for you.
Yeah.
I come here. How do I get onto their register?
First of all, it's regulated by the Solicitors Regulatory Authority.
Okay.
So first of all, you have to like get an account with them. Just go online, create an account with them.
Okay.
I think you have to upload your law certificate, right?
Okay.
But like I said to you, you don't even have to have a law degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to become a solicitor here in the UK. You could have studied anything.
Okay.
So long as you have a degree. If you can pass the exams, and you can go through the training, you can become a solicitor. Anybody can become a solicitor.
Really?
Just so long as you can pass the exams, right? So, but if I'll be speaking as though you have a law degree now, I'll be speaking for those who are foreign qualified. Yeah. So if you're a qualified lawyer from another jurisdiction like Nigeria, Ghana, I don't know, what happens when you come here is you get an account with the SRA, that's Solicitor Regulatory Authority, and then you upload your certificate. They get to see that you have a law degree. Then you are expected to write 2 exams. We have the SQE1 and the SQE2. So the SQE1 is divided into 2. The FLK1, FLK2 is 180 questions. They'll test you across, I think, 12 areas of law, but it's 180 objective questions. Then the SQE2 is like essay and orals. They'll test you in, I think, about 5 areas of law for that one. You have to pass the first one, that's the SQE1, before you attempt the second one. You have only 3 attempts on this exam. If you don't pass it within 3 attempts, you can never become a solicitor in the UK. So you have only 3 attempts. So if you want to go for it, I'll advise you to really settle down, and be committed to put in the work it takes. Like I said, the first exam will test you across 12 areas of law, like so 12 different subjects.
The areas, what do you mean? Like
okay,
property?
Like yes, like property, wills,
wills and all of that.
So different aspects of law. There are about 12. It's going to test you across those 12 areas.
And I know that probably some laws in Nigeria might be different from some laws.
Yes.
So could you, in the exam, if you were, let's say, first class in your law school back in Nigeria, can you use that knowledge to pass this 180 whatever?
No, don't try it.
Really?
Even if you're
totally
first class,
different.
like you need to settle down, you need to study, right? Because the names of the courts are different from the names of the courts you even know in Nigeria.
Okay.
They are more specialized here. It's not like that general one that you just go to high court for any kind of case. No. They have specialized courts here. You have to know what court deals with what case.
Okay.
So the names are different, especially that. But the good thing about it is that if you understood the substantive part of law, if you really understood it, you'll find it easy.
Okay.
Yeah, if you really understood it, you'll find it easy. But I advise people, to take like a course. There are so many people that offer those courses. Barbary, I think University of Law, they offer like online courses. For people who want to write this exam.
Okay.
So I advise people to take that preparatory course, right? Because this exam, you
how
have
long
only
is the
3
course
attempts.
usually?
I don't know. It depends on how many weeks you want to pay for. Like most times, they ask you questions to just know your level and your understanding of law. Are you a new graduate from law? Okay, has it been up to like 5 years? So they tell you what they think fits you. They can tell you 10 weeks. They can give you 20 weeks, to train you in those things. It costs money because I know, for instance, Barbary will charge you 3,000 to train you for the first exam. They'll charge you another 3,000 pounds to train you for the second exam. But there's been so many good reports about them. So but they'll assess you and know like what your needs should really be. Yeah.
Wow. Did you go for training yourself?
No, I didn't go for training. I read on my own. But like I said, you have to really understand yourself first. You have to really know how much you really understood the law. Like I said, if you understand how to apply it, if you understood it back from home, how to really apply it, like when you see a scenario, how to apply it, that will help you, right? But because the names of this thing they are different, laws have changed. The laws they use here is different from what you know. Even though in Nigeria we had some received English laws, like English laws applicable here, we use them, but they don't use them here again. So you need to do a lot of study. So I'll advise people to take preparatory courses, but if you want to go and try it on your own, by all means.
And then for you that you learnt on your own, how did you get the resources? Are they online? Are they on YouTube?
Yeah, they're online. I paid for a material, right? This material, they just give you access. It was at University of Oxford. They prepared that material. So I paid for it. I had access to it. And I just kept reading it over and over again for a period of time. And the funny thing about this exam and why I think you really have to settle down to prepare is that, Danielle, there's no cutoff point. Like, there's no pass mark. It depends on how people perform. Then they set the pass mark. So you know how dangerous that can be, right?
Yeah.
If too many people pass it, it's a problem for you because the pass mark will go high.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's only an amount of people they want to really come in at each point.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the time I wrote mine, I'm not quite sure, but I think we're close to maybe 4,000. And I think those of us that passed were probably maybe 2,500. You see, those 1,500 who did not pass, it's not as though they didn't read for it, but this thing is just really, you just really have to settle down and be sure you want to do it before you commit to it. It's quite expensive. I told you the first part of the exam is going going to cost you, I think it was
3,000.
no 1,600. That's the first
1,600,
one. The
okay.
second one is like 2,400, and they increase it with £200 every year. So by this year, I don't know how much it's going to be, right? But at the time I wrote it, I spent like £4,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't require trading. If you require trading,
It's extra cost.
you will pay almost £6,000 to those people separately
two.
to prepare you for the exam. So
Wow.
you're looking at
so
4 to
I have
10K.
gone to the website, I have created an account, I have probably gotten materials, or I have enrolled in any of the trainings. I have done the first part, which is the 180 multiple choice questions.
Yeah.
I have passed. I have done the second one, which is an essay type exam.
Yeah, and
I have
oral.
passed.
Yeah.
Or essay and oral.
Yeah, you're going to do like a presentation.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So I have done that second one as well. I have passed. What next?
Okay, yeah. So if you've passed all these whole exams, congratulations to you, because that's like the hardest part of it, right? So because you are a qualified lawyer from another jurisdiction, right, you're going to be exempted from 2 years pupillage. Ordinarily, if you write all these exams, you're supposed to undergo 2 years pupillage, but just because you are qualified from another place, so you don't have to go through pupillage. So it saves you that 2 years, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So then you put all they will do for you is like some police
When you
checks.
say what privilege, what does that
Like training, you're supposed to go and train under a law firm for 2 years,
okay.
but they exempt people who are qualified from another
Okay.
jurisdiction. That's why England and Wales is quite good.
Okay.
You get that exemption. So
That's really good.
yeah, so
And so after that training, so this will be paid training. I applied to a law firm and I get it. And then,
you're supposed to get a paid
So
training.
for you that you didn't do that training, what next did you do after the passing those exams?
Well, I got my name in the register
Okay.
and I started practicing.
So you applied to a law firm and they said,
No, I didn't apply to a law firm.
What did
I already have my own clientele base. I used to work a lot with international contracts even before I qualified. So that's why I needed to qualify, because I managed some international agreements for some companies. So I just needed to have that extra qualification. Yeah, but I'm still managing my clientele base. Yeah, so I'm not
Did you
with a
get
law
that
firm.
job?
It was back from home in Nigeria. I had that. Yeah, so I've been working with some companies that have some agreements with some other companies in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in
Okay.
Hungary. I was doing some international agreements there. So I already have that. So this was just me trying to get this qualification to to just boost me up.
Okay.
You know, not necessarily because I wanted to go into a law firm.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if not for what you had already,
Yeah.
you would have applied for a law firm to work.
Yes.
to work.
Yeah,
in there.
ordinarily, maybe that's
Okay.
what I've done. But you see, here in the UK, it doesn't just have to be a law firm. Like beyond law firms, there's so many. In fact, we have a lot. Like there's hardly any organization here in the UK,
Yeah, that
right?
doesn't have a
That
law-
if you want due
lawyer.
diligence, you should have a solicitor. You should have an in-house lawyer. So we have a lot of people who are working in-house. I think even apart from that, we have this integrated kind of law practice here. There's some organizations that have been here for like maybe hundreds of years. So it's like an organization that will have their legal team. They have group of lawyers, group of accountants, you know, and then you just work with them. You don't directly relate to the client. You work through them. So there are just lots of things you could do.
Wow. And what is the salary like for solicitors or
Yeah.
let's say barristers in the UK? What is it like? What is the range like? What do you
Okay.
think?
I think most newly qualified solicitors will probably start with something around maybe 40,000 a year. I'm not sure, but I think usually they'll start with, or sometimes maybe less. That something depends on
What
where
do
you
say?
are.
14,000 a year.
No, 40,000 pounds.
40,000 a year. That's good.
Yeah, but it depends on where you are. Some people will pay you far more than that. We have what we call the magic circle law firms. Those ones, like if you get in there, God has just settled
what's
your
that?
life. The biggest of the biggest kind of law firms that have been here for maybe many years ago. So if you get there, they pay you more. So it just depends on where you are, you know, but you can start with that. Some people go less with you, maybe 30 something, right? But I think trainee solicitors who are not even solicitors yet, just in the process of writing that exam, they pay them around 20 something thousand. So
Wow.
pounds a year.
Noted. Now let's talk about what happened, why you had to challenge the Law Society. So you went through all that process.
Yeah.
You got qualified in England and Wales.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to register in Northern Ireland, they said no.
Yeah, yes. So ordinarily, because I'm qualified in England and Wales, I'm supposed to just come to Northern Ireland, where I currently reside, and just register with the Law Society, right? Okay, so they said only those who are first qualified in England and Wales will be automatically allowed to practice here, you know. So, and then I wrote back to the admission, because I was talking to the admission person at the time. I said, so you mean because I was first qualified in Nigeria before England and Wales, that's to my detriment? How is it not even an advantage that I
Yes,
have
'cause
an
now you have
additional
additional-
qualification?
yeah, additional
you know?
knowledge, yeah.
I found it very disturbing, and the person just wouldn't even respond to the email. He was like, it's a long-standing policy, that's what we do. So I spoke to one senior lawyer, you know, he's more than 10 years qualified in England, and I said to him, this is what this Law Society is telling me, you know, I think this is discriminatory. And he was like, happy, just let it be, you know, it's their policy, just let it be. And at that point I said, I'm just going to pray about this and I'm going to make up my decision. So I prayed about it, and the Spirit of God gave me the leading to challenge it, right? And so I found the president's email, of the Law Society, and then I wrote a letter, and I said, this is the policy that was applied in my case. I feel like this is discriminatory, and the reason why I'm saying this is because the only people who meet this requirement are citizens of this place.
Yeah.
Who grew up here, you know, and were first qualified in England and Wales,
Yeah.
or long-term residents. So this, I feel like this was carefully put here to put foreign lawyers at a disadvantage. So that was my argument. I said this is targeted at foreign lawyers, myself including, right? So I sent them that letter.
You showed them you are really a lawyer. Hey,
you know, even the way I wrote that letter, and you know that this person is coming for trouble. Like when I sent it to his email back, I just wrote, Mr. President, find attached, and the heading of the letter was discriminatory complaint against the Law Society. You know, imagine saying that to the whole Law Society, right?
See, that kind of heading or whatever you gave the email is what you need for YouTube titles. Something that will make people jump and want to watch. Okay. So it will trigger their emotions, and then when it's not like clickbait, but then like they would want to click to find out what exactly it is. I'm sure she could not archive that email. I'm sure he could not like just ignore it. He had to see it as a president. So
and he responded almost immediately, and his response was like, I'm going to go through this, but I'm not the person who is even supposed to handle this, but don't worry, I'm going to follow up with this matter. In fact, I'll be personally involved in it. You know, and before you know, I just saw like there was a thread of email, like different people had been added to the emails. And then they were like, okay, what policy exactly do you say was applied to your case? And I showed them, I said, this is what the admission team said to me, you know, and they said,
and
okay,
that is why they exist, you know, as members or as board members or whatever of the Law Society. That's why they exist, to review some of these policies and keep changing them, because times are changing. That's true. That's why they are there anyways.
So there was a lot of emails coming, back and forth, and then they said, okay, we're going to sit on it. Our education committee is going to meet, like, I think maybe 2 weeks from that time. They're going to sit on this whole thing, you know. So sometime before it was time for them to sit, I just got that wisdom in my spirit to write another letter, right? And really just present my argument. So I heard it and I was like, see, I'm not going to be invited to speak to this committee, right? But I want to present my arguments in this letter. So this is my argument, right?
Wisdom.
So it was the Spirit of God who really laid it in my heart that Happy, write another letter. So that's why I did it. So this time around, because they said it's a reciprocal policy, right? Meaning that it's the same thing that would happen to a solicitor from Northern Ireland if you went to register in England and Wales. That's what it meant. So it's reciprocal. So that's what they were trying to make me feel, you know. So, but God helped me. I did a research and I realized that England and Wales does not do that to Northern Ireland lawyers. They don't say, well, you first qualified in Northern Ireland before you come here. There was nothing like that. The same policy, do you know they apply the same policy to even Ireland lawyers? Just Ireland here. So, and Ireland does not do the same thing. Nobody asks first qualified in, you know. So I wrote that argument to them. I said, this is just you. Nobody does it, right? And it's unfair to put this burden on those of us who come from here. Meanwhile, lawyers who go from this place, nobody puts this burden on them, right? So I wrote all those argument detailed, and you know, but just the way God will do his thing, right? Where I used to work, I used to do a lot of research and policy matters, right? So we had some magazines come. So one of the magazines I was looking at that period of time was when this law president was newly elected, and all the manifesto and all the many things he said about how we are going to open up some channels so we can get more foreign lawyers.
He said that?
Yeah, and you know what? I stumbled on that, just the way God will work. I stumbled on that like a week or two before I would ever do I would get into contact with these people. So I went to that place and I picked out all those promises he said in his when he was becoming president.
I'm sure he will laugh.
And I included it, and I was like,
what? He googled you. He went to your Facebook to look at you, your face that you're using to type that.
And I said, if any of these things you said here is true, then you will have to take out this policy, right? I took it carefully, like just how the wisdom of God works.
If I'm writing to my in charge, I'll let you go through my.
So, do you know, the argument was really sound, and I was just grateful to God for helping me to put that up. And I sent it to them, and even when they responded, you could see how whoever was responding to me, the person was even pleased with what the person was reading. Like, so they received it and all of that, and then in like how many weeks after that, I think the panel sat, and I just saw congratulations.
Wow.
This is your certificate of admission. So I don't know if the policy was completely ruled out. I don't know if it was decided on the merit of my own case, right? But all I know is that my name got in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, first of all, congratulations. We thank God for giving you, you know, that boldness to challenge it and finally get your name on the register. Yeah. But then I'm also thinking, like solicitors, you can be here and you can be, like for instance, if you're buying a house right now, you need like solicitor to help you. The person can be in London and be dealing with your case. You don't necessarily have to see the person. So you could have still practiced in Northern Ireland with your
England and
Wales qualification, right?
Yeah.
But why did you really want to? Or am I lying? You could have, right?
Yeah. But there's only as much as I can do.
Okay.
Yeah, because some opportunities would want you to actually be qualified here.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's only as much as you can do if you're not qualified. But another thing again, I just want to add is that I remember when I wanted to get this my whole qualification, like most of the lawyers I met here said, you don't need it. You don't have to. You know, so you hear that a lot. You know, people say, we are working here. Happy, I'm already working as a lawyer. See, I didn't need it. So people said that to me a lot. So it just felt as if I was just being too ambitious, you know, trying to get my qualification.
People work as lawyers, but you're not on the register. How do they do that?
No, they don't practice as lawyers, but there's only as much as you can work if you have a law degree, right? So they work to the extent of just that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get you. Okay.
So
okay,
they say,
okay.
oh, you don't need it. Look at us. We're here. Did we need it? But when I eventually got it, everybody was like, oh my goodness,
That means I
congratulations, congratulations.
Wow.
So
I think they thought it was impossible, and they thought
Yeah.
maybe it's a long.
and that's why policies like this would have existed and nobody would even notice, because most times people come here and everybody's just comfortable. Oh, I've gotten a job. I'm doing something that is in an organization. It feels good already, and then you don't want to like push a little bit more and try for something else. So
I was telling my husband about you after the interview. That part like really struck me. I was just telling my husband, he did petrochemical engineering in Ghana, right?
Wow, that's amazing.
And then he came here to do his master's in University of Manchester.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the few people in his class to get distinction. He
What?
had some, yes.
Oh my God.
Distinction.
Wow,
in
that's
chemical-
amazing.
So when he was coming here, I knew that, quickly, like distinction, right? So when he came here, he saw that they apparently have a society like engineering, chemical engineering,
Okay.
whatever board or something like maybe what you said about
The Law Society.
law society,
Yeah.
something like that for his discipline.
Yeah.
So I'm like, then try and register and get their badge or their whatever, so that when you are applying for engineering jobs, it'll be more, solid that he's on there. So he applied, and then he even wrote back to his project manager back in the university for reference.
Yeah.
This man was fast.
Wow.
And provided the reference and everything my husband needed. He submitted his distinction and everything that he had from University of Manchester. They said because he did not have his first degree in the UK, he can't be added.
Wow.
I think I've even mentioned this in one of my old videos before. We were so disappointed, but we never even thought that we could challenge, like that. We just accepted our fate like that there's nothing we can do. And he moved forward to look for something else that he can do. You see, I'm like, somebody who had distinction, you people in your university. This was 2016, 2017. He paid over 15,000 for his tuition.
Wow.
No student loan. His father paid. God tell as well. Did everything. That is so disappointing.
Yeah,
like
it
it dampens your spirit. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, it is. But it's just really
So your-
disappointing, right?
your
It's like
situation
they're telling
is-
you you're not good enough, right?
But you people saw that he was good enough to come to your school, to pay money,
Yeah.
to be educated.
He's good enough for the economic
He was
benefits.
Good, yes,
Yeah.
he was good enough. And like in Scotland, now I'm going off topic, but in Scotland, in Parliament, actually, one MP said that it's so clear that in Scotland, there are a lot of universities that a lot of international people apply to in Scotland. He said that is what they used to run the universities. They have said it so many times.
Yeah.
They depend on the monies that we
No,
bring
that's
in.
common knowledge.
Yeah.
That's common knowledge. Ever since they stopped international students from bringing families, right? They're increasing the tuition fees for home students now. That's the only way to balance it, because there's been a shortage, right? So many, even Queen's University here is going to lay off more than how many staff members? Like, people are laying off, universities are laying off. I was even reading one university is about to shut down completely their chemistry department, because they run on this funds
they
from
do.
international students.
They do.
But it's such a shame, because even recently, the recent survey I just read, most people who finished their masters here ended up doing care jobs.
So many. My care home, most of maybe I can count maybe 5 carers. 1 from India and maybe 3 from Nigeria. 4 people who came to do their masters here and are finished and they are doing care jobs.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because
When I don't even have the masters.
Yeah.
And now they are sort of like
they're
under
doing
me.
the master.
Yes.
It's just unfortunate, but that's how it is. Because even apart from the fact that many people do the care job because they want to continue that sponsorship to remain, right? Other people are doing it because nobody wants to hire them. They say you don't have a UK experience. What do you mean by you don't have a UK experience? It's not enough that you schooled here already.
So I feel like your situation should be like louder, because I don't know, like this is just me and my husband's situation I'm really talking about.
Yeah,
now.
and never
Other
know that
people
Yeah.
might be going through similar in maybe their area of expertise or
Yeah,
whatever that they are
yeah.
going through, maybe bankers, maybe there are other things that we don't even know. The final words for anybody in any discipline who's struggling to join, let's say, an association in this UK here because they were initially trained in a foreign country, or your final words for other solicitors who want to embark on this journey, or somebody who's even a solicitor already but wants to become a barrister and is struggling because of all these things that we are saying, what will you tell them?
So the only thing I'm going to say is, like, if you really want something, just go for it, right? Just go for it and be committed to it. I don't advise anybody to try to want to start this whole solicitor journey without being, be ready to give it your 100%, because along the way you might find a lot of discouraging things. I was telling Nadia, I said a day to that exam, I was so worried already. I was already thinking maybe what does it cost to do a receipt? That's how discouraged I was. But God helped me and I passed the exam. So I'm just saying, you have to just learn to put in your all. There's only as much as I can talk about. When I talk about the fact of how they need you to get a solicitor before they put your name in the row, Daniel, they need you to get a solicitor to attest to you. If you know,
Like
if you
a
know what it took
reference.
me to get,
But
you have to get a solicitor to be able to do that for you. If you know what it took to even get that person
Somebody.
to even do it, So there's just too many things. And then when you are trying to get they want to validate your degree from back home. They need something from your academic office from back home. There's just too many things you need. your certificate of good standing from back home. So almost every step of the way, when I think, oh, I've passed through the hardest part, then something else will come, and I can't believe it, you know. So, but just be committed. That's what I'm saying. Be ready to go to the end. Oh, it just depends on
your speed.
Like it depends on your individual speed. You know, some people might write one exam now and wait until maybe the next year to prepare themselves very well for the other exam. But I think earliest you can do is maybe 18 months. I think,
18 months.
That's if you write all the exam at once and pass them, or even less than 18 months. If you write all your exams at once and pass them, and you have everything put together, they do your police check. They're going to do a serious long police check from back home and all that. You know, just so many things. If you can put all of that together, your name will be in the roll. And then another thing I'm going to advise someone who wants to go for this part is, if you know you want to go for this part, from now, while you're trying to get your qualification, try to get into a law setting, right? Try to go into a law firm, you know, take a job as maybe a legal assistant or a paralegal, right? Just try to get yourself somewhere inside this whole setting, because by the time you're done with your qualification, if you don't have something in your CV to at least show that little UK experience, it might be a challenge for you, right? It might be a challenge.
I think that's really good,
So from now on, if you know you're thinking about it, try to look for a legal assistant role, or you can even decide to go for a trainee role. They pay people, I think, 20-something thousand or so as trainee, you know. So you can look for a trainee role, you know, just so that when you come out, it will be easier for you to just get into the system. I
think that's well said, and I've learned so much from it, guys. I can't leave her contact on the screen. I know people would love to ask her loads of questions. She'll be in the comment section, and as well, she runs her son's channel, Jesus Little Lumps. I'll leave a screenshot of it and a link in the channel in the description, so you can go there and then, you know, contact her. I'm sure maybe you can find other details there, how you can contact her and ask her questions on there, even about this process. That's the only way you can find it.
Nadia, you said something about advising like people who are trying to challenge like their own society. I think I'm yet to answer that. Okay, so like if you think that you are supposed to be part of a society and for whatever reason you're sure you meet the requirements but they don't want you to get into it, I think you should like challenge it. Write a letter to them, you know, write down your points, tell them why you think you should get into that society or why you meet those requirements. Like when I wanted to do mine, many people told me just forget about it.
You know, it works. It works, but it's just the boldness and the period of time that people don't want. You know how if you're a nurse in the UK, you have to write IELTS. And you know, there's a Ghanaian lady who did not write and is now a nurse because she challenged them. I'm telling you.
What?
I've saved her name on my phone, NMC English. That's how I remember her.
Wow.
I was shocked. I thought it was me I discouraged her.
Sometimes
I thought
you just have to.
She has so much. I think she wrote one, but she didn't meet the requirements. So she brought that one. And then she brought the fact that she worked in big hospitals in Ghana where English is a language. And she brought where she's been in this UK for a long time working as a carer. She's never had any communication issues. And then the panel sat, but for her, she was present. So they did a video with her. They read some things there. They told her to interpret it.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
She's working
so sometimes you just have to like challenge the situation. You'll be surprised. Like even if they don't change the law for everybody, on your own merits, you can get it. So.
And it happens all the time. Like I was telling you the last time, my work, I don't know if I told you, my workplace, all the people that started with me, nobody has started 9 shifts. But I do nights 4 times every week.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just the boldness. I was not even bold. I was just referring them to what is on their website in a very scary way. I was so scared that I wrote back to the HR that I can't do the job. They should just give me another unit or another department where they would, you know, be flexible with my pattern, because they don't mean what is on the website. You know, so guys, don't be scared. I've learned so much from this lady's story, and I hope that you have learned it too. Let's be bold and let's try, and let's keep God in all of it.
I told you that before I even went through the process, people had told me, no, the most senior lawyers had told me forget about it. I went to God and I prayed about it, and the Spirit of God said challenge it and you're going to win it. That's what God told me, and it happened exactly. So just keep God in everything you do.
And let's end the video by saying Amen.